Hey guys, I'm Dr. Moore with Cumberland Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. Today we're talking about the things that you're doing wrong in the gym if you're working out with low back pain. So whether you're a CrossFitter, you're pursuing powerlifting, or you just go to the gym casually every once in a while and you're pushing through low back pain, this video is for you. Stick around. As a chiropractor who works in a sports medicine clinic, I see a lot of athletes, I see a lot of low back pain. Although not all causes of low back pain are the same, I do see a lot of common mistakes that people make that either exacerbate or cause low back pain when they're working out. So today, the first thing that we're talking about that you're doing wrong in the gym if you have low back pain is a lot of sit-ups, okay? Now people love sit-ups. It's like the tried and true good old-fashioned way to work your abs. But the fact of the matter is that when we're doing sit-up motions, whether it's just your standard sit-up, whether it's a cable resisted like machine sit-up, or even like a decline bench sit-up with a plate, you're putting the low back into flexion and extension repetitively, sometimes with resistance. And if any part of your low back pain is coming from a disc injury, whether it's a disc bulge, disc herniation, or just an inflamed, irritated disc, then this motion is going to kill your low back. So this isn't to say that you can't work out your abs if you have low back pain or you're trying to stop your low back pain, but you need to do healthier alternatives that don't repeatedly bring your low back into flexion and extension. Things like planks or side bridges or even cable resisted rotation exercises are just a few. There's a lot out there, but those are some of my favorite. Okay, so the next thing that you're doing wrong in the gym is you're not stretching your hips. So when we're doing these complex motions in the gym, like your squats, your lunges, your box jumps, you have to think of the body like a chain of joints that all have to work together to accomplish these motions. It's the same like a team of sled dogs, right? A chain of sled dogs. If all the dogs aren't pulling the same direction and aren't pulling their weight, the sled's not gonna get where it needs to go. So in this analogy, if your hips aren't pulling their weight, if they're not doing their job because they're too tight, then the next dog in that chain is your low back, and you're gonna be overworking it to make up for it, and that's gonna cause low back pain. So there are a lot of muscles in the hip that could use to be stretched, but the one that I see overlooked the most is the hip flexors. These muscles run from the front of your hip to the spine, the front of the spine in your low back. And if it's too tight, you can think of it like a cable connecting the front of your hip to your back. It's going to cause your back to be overworked and stressed anytime you have to extend your hip. So when I talk to people about this hip flexor group and tell them they're not stretching it right, most of them try to defend themselves. They say, I am stretching my hip flexors, I promise. And then I have them show me, and they're doing it all wrong, to be honest. A lot of people like to do like a lunging stretch on the ground, but most of them do it while they're extending their back, which kind of negates the whole stretch. You're slacking one end of that muscle and you're really just stretching your quads at that point. In our office, we teach a hip flexor stretch that's performed standing. It's a little bit hard to get down because you have to learn to tilt your pelvis or tuck your pelvis. But once you get it, it's an effective stretch for your hip flexors, and that will help relieve that low back pain. Okay, so the last thing that we're going to talk about that you're doing wrong in the gym if you have low back pain is you're not using your core effectively. So a lot of people that I talk to already associate the fact that they need a strong core to keep their back from being hurt or strained, right? We kind of have that concept in our head. But when it comes to using your core when you're lifting weights, a lot of people aren't doing that right. So when I have them show me what they're doing to brace with their core when they're lifting, they suck in their gut and they flex their abs like they're in a Mr. Universe contest, right? And that's great, but that's not what we need to do to protect our back. Think about an Olympic power lifter, right? These huge men who come up and walk up to these bars with a small car attached to either side. They have these weightlifting belts, right? When they go to lift that weight, have you ever seen that belt get slack, like it's gonna drop down because they're flexing their abs? No. The thing looks like it's about to explode, and that's because they are intra-abdominally bracing. They are pushing out with their stomach 360 degrees into that belt. That is what protects your back when you're performing these heavy lifts. So you need to learn to use your core effectively, not sucking in your gut, but expanding your gut and forming that intra-abdominal pressure. Now this is something that's hard to do if you're not familiar with how to do it or you haven't done it in the past. It's a hard habit to break. We have videos that might help you. You can check these two out that we have on our website, and there's more out there on the web that you can try and use. But it's something that you need to become familiar with and get good at if you're going to protect your back and help solve that low back pain that you have in the gym. Okay guys, so these are the few of the things that you're doing wrong in the gym if you're working out with low back pain. I hope you enjoyed the video. We're going to supply as many links to the resources that we use to help our patients under this video that are applicable to what we talked about. Feel free to check them out and start to use them, and I hope it helps with your low back pain. If you're already doing these things, or maybe you try these things and it doesn't work or it doesn't help with your low back pain, then it sounds like you need some help. So why don't you give us a call at Cumberland Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. We work with people every day with low back pain, whether they're athletes or average Joes. So until next time, this is Dr. Moore with Cumberland Chiropractic and Sports Medicine, where we get you better, faster.